Alright, I think I'm... okay. How do I want to structure this? I want to go through... This is not just involving the new patch. This is kind of a universal thing for a lot of the cast. There's certain optimizations that I've been meaning to see or meaning to talk about, so... I'm going to go over each character that I have something to say about their combo optimization in particular. For Luke, the first thing is... I cannot overstate how good this combo route is. There. So that combo route, now that's in Modern. Now I prefer playing Luke in Modern. There's only one part of that combo that would change in Classic, and it's that in Modern you have to do the Modern special because he can't do this run tackle manually. So he would do a tiny little bit more damage in Classic by getting the Classic version of that. Basically irrelevant, but the point is, the reason why this combo is so good, and that was off of 2 lights, but you can do that off of anything. This combo route applies to any position that you get, like, the full launch, whatever, whether or not you spent drive gauge to start it. This is the good combo route, okay? He gets so much value out of extending this in this particular way. This is the best way he can do it. Okay, some Luke players do this. This one is the same, but just a little bit better in every way. It does a little bit more corner carry. It builds a little bit more super. It wastes a little bit more time. See, here's the thing. When you do a raw drive rush in the middle of a combo, so if I were to do that and then go into this, look at how long it is before your drive gauge starts regenerating. Whereas if you do this, it's half the time. Half the time when coming out of the tackle route that I paused at. So, because you wasted more time by doing a full like this into a launcher into the tackle instead of just going straight into a special. So, every single way, this combo is just a little bit better than the one that does this. And the reason why this combo is so good and so worth the drive gauge is, 1, massive corner carry, 2, the damage from any circumstance, even the most scaled scenarios, like 2 lights into a drive rush extension, 3, the super, but one of the biggest, probably the biggest, is this plus 15 after doing the tackle into a forward dash. Plus 15 is a perfect meaty stand heavy kick. Meaty stand heavy kick from Luke is like one of the most fucked up things in the game. Think about it. Think about like what character gets a non-corner, non-counter hit reliant, non-drive gauge reliant, just meaty button that yields that much on reward meterlessly. What character has just a regular ass plus on block meaty button that does that? It's incomparable to almost any other scenario that any other character can regularly get from just a basic combo. This is so good. It's only 15 frames. It's not really reactable unless you're like a supercomputer, etc. Plus on block. You are in throw range, or you can do like 2 lights or whatever. It's not the best plus on block, but it's better than anything else he could do in any context, except for a meaty tackle. Actually, it's better than meaty tackle, because if meaty tackle hits, you're not getting anywhere near the reward that this is getting. And in this scenario, I kind of paused it in an awkward place, but you can get a meaty throw. So, you get all the same options. This is strike, throw, shimmy at its purest, with the strongest strike option probably in the entire game. All of that combined, I measure those on block, on hit, etc. All of that combined, I measure this at one of the best combo extensions for value for your drive gauge in the entire game, bar none. So, that's one of those important things to recall. For Luke, also in the corner... Okay, here's a couple of other things that you probably didn't know about Luke. He's one of these +2 on block characters from Drive Rush instead of +3. Which means that his offense kind of sucks. His offense is actually really shitty here. If the opponent just does, like, a 4-framer. If you do crouch strong with Luke, as most of them do, in this circumstance as the strike, it's only +2 as a 6-frame button, so it will trade if they mash. It won't win, it'll trade. You're only +5. Well, it depends how plus you are on based on the character. Here, let me just pick fucking Cammy. If she's crouching, I might be in range for stand light kick. If she does stand jab, which is the same frame data on trades, nothing. So, Luke is, I would say, pretty bad in his drive rush cancel, in his, like, drive rush situation like this, because he doesn't get a legitimate, clean, guaranteed a combo, whatever, trade scenario with this. This is not that good on trades anymore. So he has to do, like, crouch light kick, crouch light punch, or just crouch jab, crouch jab. And because of that, this is a scenario that you don't see unfold that much that probably should, because most Luke players, if they were to do this, they would probably just go into this terrible knockdown special that Luke has to use all the time. This light knuckle that does no damage and doesn't even give that great of Oki. Where they could be doing... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button because I'm used to modern. Whatever, I can switch back to modern now. Little do people know that if Luke does his heavy uppercut, he actually does get meterless strike throw shimmy Oki. He can just dash up. It's one of his better knockdowns. It's just, his DP is so shallow that usually you never see this mid-screen. But this is a scenario where he would probably have to use it, and the fact that he gets, like, clean Oki off of it, even discounting this, like, fucked up trade scenario that he loses, it's probably better than doing just crouch strong, crouch light punch, whatever. Light flash knuckle. So, yeah. More of that, please. And a similar story in the corner. Anytime he does heavy uppercut in the corner, he can set up, if I don't screw it up, heavy uppercut close hit. There's a way to do heavy uppercut that hits, like, on the tail end and stuff like that that's really shitty and doesn't work. But he does get meaty stand heavy kick, off of any juggle or basic hit into, which means in these scenarios the ideal combo would be, at least for modern, you can do different routes in classic, but you can do that, etc. Anyways, as for Jamie, when he's, especially when he's low on drinks, the thing that some Jamie players do this, some don't. Most of the people that main Jamie don't do this route. I'm assuming because it's a little bit awkward to hit sometimes, but it, like, I just did it there. I mean, it's not that hard. I've not found it to be that hard. I practiced it a little bit, and now I don't drop it very frequently. Think about basic measurements, okay? Think about what I just did. Low forward drive rush. Half screen, 1 drink. Look at the super gain. That's starting with nothing. That's not a mistake. Over half a bar of super from a basic low forward drive rush combo. Now, one of the things that people don't necessarily, I did not understand about Jamie until I did the work to look at his systems and such, measure his stuff, is that Jamie's supers are actually very good. His level 1 is really good in the corner because he doesn't get great ways to go into drinks anymore, because most of his drinks he gets by knocking them far away, then taking a drink, or doing this, etc. So if he just lands that, Then he gets that, but that's -1 and he's in throw range, etc. So he can do any extension with this, he can get a drink, and then he's plus. He's +4, in fact. And +4 is like the perfect plus frames that you want in the corner, because it means that the opponent can't punish your meaty throw if they backdash. So his level 1 is actually really, really good in the corner, because you get strong Oki, you get damage extension that you really wouldn't have gotten otherwise, because, like, what other damage are you getting? Plus a drink. So anyways, yeah, his level 1's really good in the corner. His level 2 can be good. Kind of depends. Especially if you get, like, this single hit confirmed. And then his level 3 is actually... A lot of people neuter his level 3 because they do, like, they get the combo, but then they just do a drive rush extension afterwards, after the damage is already scaled at the end of the level 3. And then they lose out on all that shit, that all the advantage that they get. But the fact that he gets a level 3 that he can combo extend, it gets the full drive gauge regeneration, and he can also get more corner carry and Oki from it, which most characters don't get from their level 3s, makes it actually quite a bit better than most level 3s in the game. So anyways, his super is very valuable, and this combo route builds him a ridiculous amount of super, in addition to the fact that it's just way more optimal in every other way. Like, what other combo would they do here? This? That's what you would see? Less damage, half the corner carry, less than half the super. Or, sorry, less than half the corner carry, less than half the super. Terrible. Fucking garbage, okay? Whereas this? This is +4 on the knockdown, not -11, so they don't get to, like, throw out a fireball or do some drive rush Oki or whatever. Literally better in every single conceivable way. It's just that sometimes you drop it like that because the timing's a bit specific. This is also the case in the corner as well. And he can do this off of this target combo. The way I measure these things, I consider this to be worthwhile. And then, what else about Jamie? That's like the most important point. Let's see. His shimmy is interesting. I had no idea that, like, even just clipping someone with, like, the tail end of Stand Heavy Punch does the full drive gauge damage. Takes, like 0.7 of a bar from them. And you get the full extension as well, even if you're far out, like here. So, it's a good reactive shimmy. 5 frames, but even if you don't get the first hit, 7 frames for the second hit. So, really good shimmy tool. Heavy kick is more, but it's 15 frame startup. You can't really react with that, so it's a full commitment, which a lot riskier, leaves you open. In terms of the season changes, I don't know why more people aren't talking about his stand heavy kick buff. I mean, like, look at, like, the hurt box. Look at how, like, close he can be. And there's no hurt box. So, yes. Yep. Manon, I have no observations about her combo routes other than just the fact that, other than what I've talked about in other videos, which is that, like, after the first medal that you get, I don't believe in ending in the hit grab to get more medals under, like, under normal mid-screen circumstances. So instead, a situation like this, I more believe in doing something like that. But, and other than that, just the fact that, like, the value that you get from this spin kick is, like, so high compared to a lot of other characters, like EX launchers that they get. This one's really, really good. This one's, like, way better than a drive rush extension. Kimberly routing. I think I've talked about this a little bit. My main thing with Kimberly, in terms of combo routing, is I don't know why people do this when they're already in the corner. the light Vagabond edge when they could just do sweep, which is better, slightly better in every single way. It's more plus. If there's a specific setup that they only get off of plus 36 from the Vagabond edge, then that would be its own story. That's fine. But the sweep does the same exact damage. It's more plus by a little bit, and it builds more drive gauge and more super. So I don't know why people don't do that. But yeah, that's my only probably like real observation with this character. There's a couple instances where it's like, okay, one thing that's kind of iffy is run Oki, like manual hold run Oki like this, and then stop, and then do something. Technically, if you do this well, this is probably the best Oki that you can get, because you can manually time like a meaty overhead. You can stop it at any point and do basically any meaty that you want. Like so. You can get stand heavy kick, no problem. This is the most corner carry that you can get, the most corner push for a knockdown for like basically anything that she can do mid-screen. So again, I don't play this character, but I feel like with practice that would be the go-to Oki, because it's kind of just better than whatever the fuck people do, like dash, run, stop, like that. That's way less corner carry, because you're not pushing the corpse. But the other thing is what? The overall value of these routes. And the corner carry that you get from those, I don't know. There's like a couple routes here and there. There's a couple, okay, there's a couple bomb setups in the corner that I feel like people should do more frequently. So some people, some Kimberly players, they like to do this as their shimmy once they have the bomb set up, because if they just regularly just, let's say, do that, there's not enough time to just get this raw, so they would have to spend drive gauge in such a way that it's not like, it's not great. So, because of that, oh, also that's a route that I would consider to be better than extending it with the EX in that context. But this is a situation where I feel like double bomb combos make sense. Because, like, you get the way more like, you get the full damage, etc. You build a lot more super. If you're low on drive gauge, you build, like, 4 bars of drive gauge from it. So, I don't know. I kind of like the double bomb routes. Double bomb confirms. Marisa has some new routes. When you're kind of nearby to the corner, but not all the way in the corner yet, this charge target combo is really good. It's much better. So if you're like in like this mid-screen position, that's almost certainly worthwhile as the new optimal. Some Marisa players I've seen are doing that into that, and then they take that as their Oki. I actually don't believe in that. I think that that's better. All of Lily's Lily is the simplest character in the fucking game, and none of her combos ever change, ever. JP, the JP players know what their combo routes are. Jury have a lot of combo optimizations, or places where I think that the combo routes could or should be different. One of them is off of Drive Rush. I generally think, okay, one, in terms of characters, there's like 2 or so characters in the cast that I think, even if they can get meterless Oki, their Drive Rush Oki is still stronger in terms of value proposition, and those are Aki for sure. Aki's Drive Rush low or overhead or forward heavy kick or stand medium punch or whatever. It's like way stronger than her meterless Oki. And one of the other ones that I would say that for is Jury. So even in a context like this, where you can get meterless Oki, I still think Drive Rush Oki is at least as good. It's at least, like, equal, I would say. So there's a couple places that this is important. That there's important things to note. One is, because of previous buffs, not from this current patch, but from the previous patch, you can do EX Fujin from lights, and I broadly consider this to be, like, worthwhile. Here's the thing about, like, doing EX into something that you need to spend drive gauge to extend, is when you do an EX like this into whatever, let's say that, how long is this lingering penalty staying for? 0, 1, 2, about that long. Let's say you did that instead, which is much shorter and gives you better Oki. So this, it stays for 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so about 0.3, 0.35 of a bar of drive gauge in terms of how your meter is still paused because of the EX that you just did. If you do Drive Rush immediately after, which you would have to here to take your Oki, you replace that previous penalty. So that 0.3, that 30% of a bar of drive gauge that you weren't building through natural regeneration is now deleted, gone, doesn't matter. You have replaced it with a new penalty. Which means that the value of doing this straight into Drive Rush Oki is a little bit higher. Marginally so. This is not like the biggest effect in the world. I would place this at like being worth, I don't know, 100 to 150 damage in terms of how you could consider this to be better. Here's the other thing about this, is that this and this are not exactly the same launcher. In particular, they affect, off of EX, I would say the heavy Tensenrin is perhaps better, and off of this, I would say the light Tensenrin is better, because if you do this into the light Tensenrin, the juggle points and whatever work in such a way that, look at the super gauge. It's about there. And if I do this, the super gauge is still at exactly the same place. But if I do the heavy, and do the heavy Tensenrin afterwards, super gauge is there. God damn it. It's there. But if I do the light Tensenrin, it's a little bit more. A little tiny fucking fraction of a thing more. Overall, the point is that off of the... I consider this to be very worthwhile to get in terms of a combo extension and whatever else. I guess it's like your choice whether or not you want to do the light follow-up or the heavy follow-up. The damage is significant, but also the difference in how close you are for the Oki afterwards is significant, because you don't get the strongest meaty overhead setup unless you do the light Tensenrin. Whereas in ordinary places where you're just doing the heavy one, I would say the light Tensenrin is better every time. But anyways, the point is that I don't believe in this route that people do all the time. I don't believe in that. I believe in that. I believe in that way more. So long as you have, like, healthy drive gauge, I believe in that way more than I believe in the thing that people are normally doing. And I believe in that to... I could pull up the Excel sheet, but I believe in that to a lot, like, pretty heavy, significant degrees. So for Shimmy... Okay, a lot of people do Shimmy. Jury is a weird character because... even if she can shimmy with a heavy, for which she gets, like, a big chunk of their drive gauge gone on punish counter, whatever, her standing medium punch punish counter is so good and yields so much that I did the math any way I could to find a route where I thought heavy punch as a shimmy was better. I don't believe it. This is the best shimmy. That is the best shimmy by a significant margin, and that only really changes when you get like quite a few Fuhijin stocks. Oh, also, I don't believe in, I did the math again, anyway, please forgive me, because the way my button layout is, this is not, like, the most, my kicks are not aligned in such that it's convenient for me to do these EX specials with Jury. But anyway, so, I don't believe in, this, either. I don't believe in EX medium Fuhijin, except in very niche circumstances. Like, for example, if you're going to do this into an extended level 2 combo, okay, then I believe in that, because if you're doing an EX, it doesn't stop you from building drive gauge for the rest of the combo, which means you can do your whole big level 2 combo, go from corner to corner, and regenerate your drive gauge. But any other context, I don't believe in that. I believe in Dry Rush. So yeah, unless you're like low on drive gauge and can't afford the Drive Rush cancel, I believe in that way more than I believe in the EX. I've done them, again, I would not have believed that unless except that I double checked my math on the routes that you can get over and over and over, and I can confirm over and over and over that this is better. Right. So yeah, there's like a lot of places where like I don't super believe in. The corner is where it gets kind of awkward because you can get double Fuhijin stocks, but then you're only +2 and you have to backdash throws, and it can become awkward. Oh, here's another interesting point. When you are, let's say you get like a regular extension with one Fuhijin stock, like this. So you get a shimmy or whatever. You do that. Okay. Especially, okay, let's say you're in the corner and you do this. You have two options to extend here. You can do forward medium punch into either that or the DP or whatever. I believe in getting stocks most of the time. Or you can do low forward into this. Now, the difference is forward medium punch does a little more damage. So if you do this route, it's 2660. If you do low forward, which you can do in modern, you lose 60 damage. That being said, for whatever reason, low forward actually builds more super gauge than forward medium punch. So, again, marginal. It's marginal damage and it's a marginal amount of super gain. But one of the other reasons why I like crouching medium kick in this position in the corner is that you're not quite as close to the opponent as you are if you do forward medium punch. So let's say you do it here. Jury's feet, little toesies are right fucking there, okay? Whereas if you do that, tiny bit farther away. If you do that, a significant amount farther away. So you could do this like a variety of ways. You could do like the light stock, which functionally hits like about the same, but you're still not in throw range. I like just the tiny amount that you're, because like this, I consider, it's not too close, but if I could get even to there, I would prefer it, because then I would still be in range to threaten with throw, but I would be far enough away that I could feel comfortable walking back for a shimmy. So that's why I like this, because I consider these routes more or less equal to each other, just because I think the super gain is about worth the 60 damage that you lose. In mid-screen, I would say forward medium punch every time, because it has a little bit more corner carry, etc., because you're canceling it closer to them. And you know, you're closer to them, so you get better Oki options. But in the corner, I would say I like low forward, because then you can do this, get the next stock up, and you're a tiny little bit farther away, and it's a little bit easier to just walk backwards and shimmy and not have to backdash. So I have like a whole fucking smorgasbord of little optimization. And the farther that, the longer your combo is in this circumstance, the more true that would be. So, like, well, let's say the longer the combo is, the more the damage scaling is, so the less the forward medium punch matters. But the crouching medium kick will always build more super gain, no matter what, because that's not scaled by the combo. Weird little minutia of this character. Jury is uniquely bad at neutral jump. If she had a good neutral jump button as a shimmy tool, it would probably be better than standing medium punch. But because her neutral jump replaces her jump heavy kick with this, she doesn't have a convenient... She would have to do that, and this is not worth it over just shimmying with stand medium punch. Because since it's a medium, it does less damage, but most importantly, it doesn't get the big chunk of drive gauge that you would normally take from a heavy with a punish counter. So I don't believe in her neutral jumps as a shimmy, but yeah. So there's a wide variety of places. I've kind of measured the positions where I think that you know, how much value spending stocks on combos is worth in various places, etc. And her super gauge is really strong because anytime you're like past the midway point of the stage and you just combo into level 1, you're pretty much you've reached the corner, and you reach the corner meterlessly. You don't even need a drive rush. You just do level 1 from like the halfway point of the stage, and then even if you're further away than that, you're pretty much at the corner. So I consider level 1, and ordinarily Jury does not have many knockdowns that have like a ton of corner carry. Right? Even that doesn't have like the best Oki from a drive rush. You can get that, but you can't get a meaty throw from drive rush. So yeah, she doesn't have a lot of corner carry without super. She needs super, and she doesn't have like weird side switch routes she can go into. So she needs level 1 or level 2 to get all of her corner carry. Or in other circumstances, like let's say she does that. Like those routes, if she were to air or beat someone's throw with this, then she can get a lot of corner carry from that. A lot more than she would normally get from any of her grounded combos. But other than that, normal combos on the ground, she needs super gauge. Level 1 and level 2 are both amazing for corner carry. So yeah, her super I would say is worth quite a lot. DJ, I have no real commentary on his routes. Some of his routes were not as strong as I really thought they would be. I kind of thought like his like lights into drive rush cancel would be stronger because he gets like a full fucking 3-piece like that. When I did the math on it, I was not as impressed as I thought I would be, but whatever. You can look at my spreadsheets for that. Cammy. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about Cammy ad nauseum. Ryu's new routes, I broadly consider any confirm from a medium or any buffer from a medium. I now consider this to be the optimal. EX high blade into forward heavy kick that into the drive rush. Remember, same EX rules apply. Where, because you're coming out of this with a drive gauge penalty, a very light one, it's only like, I don't know, 10-15% of a bar of drive gauge in terms of how long your regen is paused for as soon as you regain control, but you still get to override that with a new penalty by doing a raw drive rush. So you still get to effectively save a small percentage of drive gauge by doing drive rush Oki after this particular route, which is never the case when you do it off of like drive rush cancel routes. But yeah, that's the big thing. I personally believe in doing all of his corner routes into building Hashigeki. Or, sorry, building Denjin. The thing about Denjin is that if you do stand heavy punch into the Denjin Hashigeki, it's a true block string. They would have to drop... It's +3. When he's in throw range, he can do, like, back heavy punch and trade with their 4-framers and, like, absolutely destroy them, etc. Lots of the Ryu players do that now, so... So, yeah, I mean... True block string, it chunks their drive gauge on block. Like, that's more than a bar of drive gauge damage on block from a true block string. So, even if you're not getting, like, routes and stuff off of it, I broadly consider that to be overwhelmingly worth, like, just stealing the extra scenario. And yeah, anything off of a launcher, I also broadly consider it to be worthwhile to just get a little bit of an extension to restock the Denjin. And any, like, confirm, I also consider that to be, like, the ideal extension. Unless, again, like, the opponent's health is low and you're starting to get to the range where damage is way more important and you can get near to killing or actually killing. Anything beyond that, I consider, like, getting the Denjin plus the Oki to be huge. Honda has a lot of routes that people don't know about, especially in the new version. One of the routes that I fucking love with Honda, that's gotten way better in this version, because you can get Stand Fierce into this. You get a shimmy, neutral jump with that. That's like half health for like a level 1 combo. Previously, I would have said that if you land like a hit or like from a medium like there, that is the ideal combo. That's not true anymore. Now his driver's extension is better. I think that his level 2 and like EX hands in a level 2, like, okay, Honda literally has corner to corner routes you probably didn't know about. So, like, let's say he gets, like, a jump in or whatever. So if you added, like, a drive rush extension on top of that, it's like a drive rush, the furthest corner carry he could get would be off of doing that into the EX. I would never do this, because if you're all the way in the corner and you get like a launch like that, he can do that route instead, which is fantastic. Well, it's alright. I mean, you have to do a drive rush cancel just to get the side switch, so it's like a 4-bar route. It's not bad. You know, I use this. Honda is not a character that, like, loves spending drive gauge on pressure, because he doesn't get that much out of it. He gets more out of it now, but... So I'm like, if you can get a lot of value from it from a combo, like getting a nice side switch like that into strong Oki, which not a lot of characters get off of their side switches, then yeah, I mean, I think this is totally legitimate. So, anyways, yeah. Love Honda. Love his routes. Okay, there's one important route that, like, if you have Sumo Spirit and you're playing neutral, let's say you get, like, a stand medium punch, buffer, whatever, from here into the hands. If the opponent's standing, pretty simple, you just do that. The important thing is that if the opponent's crouching, there's a very specific combo that I have not practiced enough. I've just, like, done enough research to know that it exists, but I've not practiced it to be, like, used to it, and I don't do this in matches. If you do, this is crouching only. Crouch jab, delay rapid cancel. You can't delay it so much that you get a link like that, but you can't also do it just immediately like that. If you do a slight delay, you can get that and then get a much better extension and infinitely more value from that. Because you get way better Oki from that than you would have off of just doing headbutt because you didn't have access to it. So that is very consistent. Okay, that is very, like, the space that you do this at does not really matter. You can always do this. Well, not always. If you're, like, out here and you get, like, the tail end, obviously you can't do it. But, like, any time that you're in this range, you can do this. It's not that hard. See, I just got it, like, 3 times in a row, and I haven't even practiced this. But, yeah. Like a micro delay in the crouch light punch rapid cancel. A little bit of a delay. A little bit longer than you think, but, like, not long enough to be a link. And then you can get way more value, and then that would make stand medium punch into heavy hands universally the best, like, neutral tool, whatever, and way more value than him doing, like, a drive rush cancel. Unless the drive rush cancel will, like, reach the corner like this will. I mean, this is just, like, so good. And the fact that you can get, you're not limited, and in fact you get a better route on crouch. So long as your execution's up to par, is nuts. So he has a lot of things like that. He has a lot of, like, if you're tight with your spacing or tight with your timing of cancels. One of the other examples of, like, getting the optimal cancel timing is if you get, like, stand medium punch in the corner counter hit, it'll be +8. So if you, like, do a meaty and it's counter hit, there's a variety of routes that you can do with, so you can do just this. I don't really believe in that as much. If you're at high drive gauge, I would probably do this. Which I like a lot. But if you are, if you don't want to spend drive gauge, if you're low on drive gauge and you have, like, the maximum, you want the maximum juice out of this, you can do that, and that will get you, like, that'll get you 34, 45. It'll build you 60% of a bar of super, as compared to that, which does 50 more damage, builds, like, half as much super, and builds way less drive gauge. So yeah, some of his routes can get kind of complicated when you start putting in delay cancels and standing or crouching and micro adjustments in spacing. For instance, like his optimal shimmy, let's say you get this, which is a consistent knockdown. His optimal shimmy would be to take a very precise micro walk backwards and get a very precise stand heavy punch. Or, no, not his optimal shimmy. His optimal meaty would be doing a slight micro walk back into stand heavy punch clap into this, so that you can get a meaty clap extension. There you go. So that would be like an optimal no drive gauge meaty that you could do with Sumo Spirit. Very precise. So he's got a lot of, like, shit that I would not do in real matches unless I practiced it way, way more. He's complicated. He's a complicated... Look at him. That's a complicated man right there. Guile. Oh, God. Whatever. Fuck off. I don't care. Fuck you. You can't make me show you the Guile loops and the Guile corner combos and whatnot. Okay, I don't wanna get bogged down by stating the obvious too much. For Zangief, I think I've talked about this before. If you get, like, a counter hit, crouch medium punch buffer into drive rush, I firmly believe in doing sweep after the drive rush, forward heavy punch. I think it's a lot better than any other extension or reset that you could do. So, that's pretty much the main one. If you get a punish counter Hell Stab, you can do the same thing. Anyways, Rashid has a couple of things that he's complicated, so it's like I didn't find everything. I'm not super confident in all the routings. Generally, I think that in terms of like the drive gauge that's worth spending, I think that doing this into those drive rush extension, well, not that one specifically, but into meaty overheads or whatever else, or if you wanted to do the God damn it, I hate that fucking cancel. I hate the forward medium punch cancel. But anyways, yeah, if you wanted to do those flight things, flight resets, or flight safe jump mix-ups, whatever, I think those are more viable than like anything else that you could do with your drive gauge here. Like, I don't know, doing that or whatever. I don't believe in those. Hell, I do not even believe in... I do not even believe in extending these level 2 hits with EX unless it will kill or get close to killing. I don't even believe in this. I actually prefer Heavy Mixer unless you're already full on drive gauge. I've done the math. I think Heavy Mixer is a little bit bad. I don't think you get that much extra value for doing this, even if you hit the super hard fucking links like this. Even that, I don't think is quite worth the... Here's the thing. Most combo extensions that you spend drive gauge, you're building lots of things. You're not just getting damage. For any hit that you do with level 2 with Rashid, you cannot build more super for the combo. You're absolutely restricted from building more super from it. So in that circumstance, the meter that you're spending on the EX and also the difficulty of getting that one frame link into to get the optimal extension only adds damage. You're spending drive gauge only for damage and nothing else, and the opponent's still regenerating drive gauge. So there's also and building super from those interactions. So there's also slight other things that reduce the overall value compared to just doing the wind enhanced heavy mixer after the eagle spike. So yeah, I don't even believe in the routes that Rashid players are necessarily currently doing. Oh, in terms of Rashid doing like this flight into this safe jump, his main way of shimmying here would be to backdash. The awkward thing about this is this backdash puts him specifically just barely at a range where he can't do stand heavy punch. He's just not quite close enough to do stand heavy punch on punish counter into this. So like he actually has to spend drive gauge here to get something. Like, ordinarily, I do not think this is a good route worth doing on a punish counter. I think if you're going to punish counter, you just do that. Because that's like the same, but just you don't spend drive gauge. In fact, you build drive gauge. But off of backdash like this, you actually do have to do that. And I was thinking, like, the only other shimmy option that he has that it's comparable and or maybe superior value would be to do backdash on the throw whiff and then punish counter light mixer. And then he can get these extensions into meaty overhead or whatever, or he can get... the same thing again. So it's like significantly less damage, but you get significantly more drive gauge regen and super and everything else. So the way I calculate those values, they approach about the same overall value. The way I calculate it, I think that the light spinning mixer punish counter as a shimmy is a little better, but it's also more awkward. So I would totally understand if that's like bullshit, and I would not use that. That being said, though, that cannot be said for perfect parry situations. Let's say you perfect parry something like a medium button here. You perfect parry a medium. I would say almost 100% of the time, the optimal punish would be light spinning mix or punish counter. So, yeah, he has a variety of things. He also has, like... He also has, like, corner to corner for 4 bars. If you land the Stained Medium Punch target combo and you're close enough, you can't always get it because... Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of... Yeah, you can always get it from the Stained... I'm thinking of a different route. I'm thinking of a different route that you can't always get from max range Stained Medium Punch target combo. I'm thinking of, Heavy Cyclone. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, he has a variety of things. I had, like, no observations about Aki's routes. I understand them a lot better now that I did all the work and research. Ed, pretty simple. Okay, one thing about Ed is that I think that those routes are better than what people currently do, where they just do that, or they do a second EX into that. I don't believe in that. I think in terms of overall value. Now, you have to remember, Ed's super gauge gain is, like, worth more than any other character's super gain, because his level 2 is the most broken thing in the game. Alright, I modestly measure it at 3 times the value of a normal character. That's even if you just land, like, basic routes like this. Oh, wait, it's supposed to be into Light Blitz, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, his level 2 is, like, the most fucking bonkers thing. It's just ridiculous. Like, the amount of value that you're getting, corner-to-corner carry, insane super gain that you basically build a full bar, you spend 2 bars to go into it, but you literally regenerate drive gauge, you do, like, half health and damage, fucking, and again, corner-to-corner, full Oki, you usually often get, like, safe jump setups in the corner, etc. after it. It is the most value for a super, almost in like, almost that's possible in the game. So, yeah. My basic notes of Ed is, I think that, okay, from further away, you would actually have to do the charge route, which I do consider still better. Like, I think both of those routes are about equal to each other, but that one's more difficult, so I don't necessarily expect people to have to do that, but it is still value. Like, in terms of value for your resources, that's super high value. And it's higher than doing just a drive rush extension, even off of, like, a Stand Fierce. God damn it. Unless you get the corner. A lot of these are unless you get the corner type scenarios, but... And then, yeah, literally any hit that you ever confirm, if you have level 2, do it. Akuma, God, Akuma's like the fucking simplest character in the entire game. I could not overstate how simple and obvious his combo routings are. Bison, pretty much the same story. Terry's like really complicated. Terry's a lot of new shit as well with the new patch. So, for Terry, I would say if you land... Okay, one, his meterless stuff is still fantastic. So if you're like buffering low forward and neutral, buffer it into the target combo, that's the best. Again, unless you need the extra drive gauge, unless you're like high on drive gauge and you need the extra push to get to the corner, just do this. It's so good. But let's say you get like, I don't know, Stand Heavy Punch Meaty. If you get Stand Heavy Punch Meaty, the meterless is just to do that. If you get a counter hit, you can do Heavy knuckle, which adds like a little bit more. It's like fine. It's like whatever. But yeah, anyway, so the point is that if you land extensions, there's now with the recent buffs, there's a couple of options. You can do the old combo route, where you did that. Okay, but it's still a bit expensive if you don't have the drive gauge for that. You can do this, which is just doing EX tackle or EX charge or whatever it's called into an immediate round wave, into an immediate medium burn knuckle, then you take drive rush Hoki. This, I'm not going to explain the numbers, but this I measure around 5,100 in terms of value. Now, if you do this, I measure that around 5,200. So, a very minor difference, relatively speaking. So, if you don't feel comfortable about the drive gauge, just do the EX route. It's totally good. This route is super good. But the truly optimal new 4-bar route that I measure at 5,600 is pretty hard to do. This is a universal mid-screen thing. It's quite execution tricky. There we go. So, there's easier versions of this that are worth a lot less value, where you go into fucking crouch strong instead of stand strong after the delay. Even that is like kind of frame sensitive, but it's a lot easier to do. But I would not consider this to be like significantly better. This is the route that's fucked up. Into stand medium punch specifically, again, the timing is quite tight for the delay cancel. You have to do it basically, like, exactly right. There we go. So that route is really strong. It's really good. Again, I would measure it at like worth 500 more damage in terms of all the extra resources that you're building and stuff to just doing this. I would not consider it worth it for the execution barrier. So I'm totally fine with that being like your fucking B&B. Now, Terry as a character, he can afford to spend more drive gauge because so much of his kit is like based around doing things meterlessly. Like this target combo, he can use meterlessly. He can whiff punish and buffer and do stuff in such a way that he can do all sorts of stuff meterlessly. So, yeah, he's like really good at not needing to rely on drive gauge. And he can spend it kind of wherever else he wants. So having a good 4-bar route is totally reasonable for him because he doesn't need it in the other contexts most of the time. But yeah, it's still tricky. And in the corner, obviously his new routes are very straightforward. It's just like... Oh, also, the main buff that he got is that this is now plus on block. So this is like universally his like best meaty. You just do this on block, or especially on drive rush. His drive rush stand fierce is now really good. So if you do like a mid-screen throw loop, just do that into drive rush stand fierce, and then do like a micro walk into throw, etc. And that's like baller. That's party time. And if you want to strike them, you can just do stand heavy punch again. And on trades, you can combo off the trade. So yeah, this is fucked up. But yeah, the corner, very simple. You just do this, into that. There's like certain routes that you can do into light DP. There's certain things that you can do with that that will allow you to give you meaty overheads and stuff. But yeah. And his other thing is that if the opponent's crouching, obviously in mid-screen, he can get those extensions now. It has changed a couple of his routes in, like, say, counter hit in the corner, for example. It has changed. Like, previously that would have been +7, but now it's only +6. So now we'd have to do that, which is a little bit worse. So it's changed some of those routes. I don't think anyone used those routes. I didn't use those routes. I knew what they were, but I didn't use them. So yeah, anyways, couple other adjustments. And other than that, he still has like the same routes that weren't getting used that probably should get used in some cases, like the extra corner carry routes, like that. So, yep. Yeah, that's most of it. That's pretty much most of it.